Hi everybody. Today I've got a happy story. I think you'll enjoy this. It was 1985 and I had recently been divorced and I was living alone in San Francisco. And it was El Nino then, just like it is now, but it was pretty bad. And the rains were, flooding all over Marin County, and people were having a lot of problems. Well, in my own house, I had a bucket, a garbage can, actually, sitting in a low roof. Like I had a little porch that was covered. It was actually a little porch that had been made into a study. And it was flooded, and it was really bad. And I had very little money. I was supporting myself, and I had a garbage can that was being filled up with water constantly. So I needed the roof to be fixed, but I didn't have the cash. So I decided that I had seen where it was going to stop raining on Saturday and Sunday, and then on Monday it was going to start again and really be bad. So I figured I have got to get up there and fix this roof. So I went to the store and I purchased whatever I could afford, which was not much, but I really didn't know what I was doing, but I was going to get up on the roof. It was kind of a low area, and I was going to fix it myself. I bought tar and wood and some kind of paper that I was going to put down. Well, on Saturday morning, I had it all prepared that I was going to do this when the rain stopped, which was Saturday morning. And I got up that morning and I was getting ready, and it's my habit, it's just my nature. I've always had a routine. I get up, take a shower, and I put on makeup. So I was sitting there, excuse me, putting on makeup, and I had this very funny feeling come over me. It was really strange that something dramatic was going to happen to me today, really significant, something powerful. So I continued my routine, and I got up and I went up and down on the neighborhood, and I lived on a little cul-de-sac, an area that a very old, the house was about 125 years old, and for San Francisco that's old. And it was on the original Mission Dolores property where the mission is. So it only had 3 owners before I had this house in all those years. And it was a house for parishioners, because the mission was a stone's throw. It was like right down the alley was the mission. So I got up and I was sitting there, and I already told you that. Okay, I went outside, and I was looking for somebody to help me, because when I put the ladder up on the side of the house, I couldn't hoist myself over. I wasn't tall enough. I didn't realize it. It was much taller than I thought. When I say it was low, it was lower than the rest of the house, but it wasn't that low. I couldn't reach it. So I went up and down the street, and I couldn't find anybody at home. And there were only 2 single-family residents on this street. The rest were flats. Each flat had about 4 to 6 units in it. Across the street was, this was after I had searched the place and nobody was home. I'd gone up and down. And I knew everybody. I was kind of the mayor of the street because I was an artist and I worked at home. So every time anyone had a package or a UPS, something would come to their house, I would be the one to answer the door because they wouldn't be home. So I knew everybody. But I didn't know the guys that lived across the street from me. I knew that some young guys had moved in during the summer because I had seen a few of them. I had passed them on the alley. So I went up. I saw this door was open on the flat. I saw that it was open across the street. So I walked up this. It was a building that it was blue, colored blue, and it was an old building as well. And I remember the steps were kind of uneven. And I was walking up the steps and the door was open, so I just walked in. And I walked down the hall and there was a guy sitting on the sofa, and he was like this, you know, looking at the football game, and he was just relaxing on the sofa. And I said, excuse me, you know, I don't really know you. I had never met him before. I said, but could you help me fix my roof? And he looked at me like I was nuts. I mean, of course, who wouldn't? I mean, a perfect stranger walking in your house and asking you to fix their roof. So then I was really embarrassed. So I said, well, I'm sorry. Because he didn't respond. So I said, I'll come back when your roommates are home. Because his roommates had kind of flirted with me during the summer. And I thought, they would be more responsive. So he looked at me and he said, no, that's okay, I'll help you. He said, let me change my clothes and put on my work clothes. And I was really embarrassed. So he got up and he went into the bathroom, and we were kind of talking between the door, because I felt really awkward, and he was asking me my name and I was asking him. And when he came out, he said, okay, well, let's go see what you have. Well, we went to my house right across the street, and he climbed up the ladder, and he said, after he'd been up there about, I'd say maybe a half an hour, he said, I'm running out of tar. I need more tar. So I said, okay, I'll go get some. Well, what he didn't know was that I didn't have a car. So I had to walk up to Cliff's, which is this fabulous, it's a variety store in the Castro area. This was in San Francisco where I lived. And so I walked, and I told him I'd be right back. Well, I didn't think it would take me that long. And by the way, I only had $25 to my name, literally $25 in my checking account, in my purse. That was it. And I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get what he needed, but I had to. So I got up to Cliff's. I got what I had barely enough. I don't even remember what it was, but I got the tar, and I was walking back, and I decided to get I wanted to get something for him, like a treat or I didn't even have any food in my refrigerator. And I decided I would get an apple fritter. So for each of us, like something to thank him for helping me. So I got back there, and he was so almost angry. He was pretty upset with me. He was on the roof because what had happened was the ladder had fallen off and hit the ground somehow, and he couldn't get down. And I was gone. It must have been an hour. So he said, where have you been? And I said, well, I went to Cliff's. And he went, well, it took you so long. I said, well, I don't have a car. And he just kind of sighed. He didn't get mad at me, but he wasn't happy. So he took I hoisted he reached for I gave him I fixed the ladder, put that back up, gave him the tar, and he did the job. And then he came down in my house, and we were talking for a few minutes, and I was very appreciative because I didn't know, I couldn't have done it myself. And at the time, I thought to myself, what a cute guy he was, but I knew he was a lot younger than I was. But I didn't know how much younger. I just thought, 5 or 10 years younger. And he started talking to me, and I said, I'd like to thank you for what you've done for me. Here's an apple fritter. And he said, I don't like apples. And I was so hurt because I didn't know what else to give him. And I said, well, I wanted to do something womanly for you. And then, oh my gosh, when I said that, I about died. Womanly. I mean, what I meant was I wanted to cook him some brownies or something. That's the first thing that came to me. Well, you should have seen the look on his face. Holy moly. I remember it to this day. I mean, it was like a cross between a kid in a candy store and someone who's embarrassed, maybe for me. And I mean, I'll never forget that look. And he just said, oh, no, that's okay. And he said, well, you know, we do have pizza parties across the street. You know, we have them about once a week. Would you like to come? And I thought to myself, oh, my gosh. I mean, I could barely speak because I thought, this guy is way too young for me. Go to a pizza party? And I said, well, I don't know. Who's going to be there? And he said, well, just the guys that live there, and sometimes they have a girlfriend or they bring somebody, or, you know, we'll just hang out and have some fun. And I was hesitant. And I said, oh, I don't know. I said, I don't know. And I was kidding. You know, I said, oh, I'm probably old enough to be your mother. And he said, oh, don't be ridiculous. How old are you? And I said, well, it doesn't matter. Next time I see you, if I see you again, I'll tell you then, when, you know, if we really go out. So he went home. Oh, before he left, he said, okay, if you don't want to come to a pizza party, he said, what if we go out for dinner, you and I, the two of us? And then again, I was really skeptical. And he said, so he pushed me on it, and he made me make a date with him. So we made a date for about 2 days later. I think this was on a Saturday morning, and he made a date for Monday night. Well, the rains came on Monday. The rains came really big. Just like the newscaster said, it was a big-time El Nino. And the tar and the lumber did not hold. My garbage can was being filled up again with water. But we had a date. And when I opened the door, I mean, it was raining, there was a note from him, and it said, I'm sorry, I can't make our date because I had to go on the ship last night. He worked on ships. He was a marine engineer. He had told me that, although I had never met anyone who worked on a ship. He said, I can't keep our date. And there was a part of me that was really disappointed because I thought, oh, I'm sure he canceled that date because I'm an older woman. And the second part of it was I really wanted to go out with him. But I was kind of relieved in a way because I thought, oh, I can't deal with all this water coming in my house. And so it's okay if he doesn't, want to take me out. Well, the very next night on Tuesday, he called me and asked to come over. And he said that he said, oh no, he called me up and he said, it was still raining. He said, what if I just come over? And I remember I was doing my nails and I thought, I had come from a very, very bad relationship and a 12-year really unbalanced life. And so I didn't really know how to respond to somebody saying to me they just wanted to hang out with me. So finally I did say, okay, we'll come over. He said, I'm just going to come. You keep doing your nails. So that was the beginning of us getting to know each other. He came over. And actually, we never had another day apart. We had our real first date about 4 days later, where we actually did go out for dinner, and it was wonderful. And it developed into a really special, magnificent relationship. And then he did ask me, well, how old are you? And I told him, and he said, oh, you really are older than my mother. I'm actually about 1.5 to 2 years older than his mom. And that kind of freaked me out. But my girlfriend said to me, look, Kay, just keep going out with him. You don't have to marry him. But we did fall in love. And it has been an amazing, amazing journey. We have been married this year for, this will be 30 years we've been married. And it's been just such a wonderful, wonderful life together. And going back to that time when we were together, he said that before we could get engaged, he wanted me to meet his mom. And I was very, very nervous about that because I was older. And I knew any the average person would never believe that something like this could work out. But we did meet, and she was wonderfully supportive. I don't think she was very happy in the beginning, not because she didn't like me, but it was just, you know, she didn't know me. I was so much older. Anyway, it worked out. She was gracious. She accepted me. All of Brian's sisters accepted me, and they're my family now. And they have been this beautiful. It just changed my life. They've been this amazing part of my life's experience that has brought so much joy to my life. And Brian and I have had a fabulous marriage. We adopted a baby. She is now a millennial. She's 20 and soon will be 21 this year. We adopted her when I was 54, and I think he was 19 years younger. That's how much younger he is than I, and it's worked. It's very, very special. And just recently, a woman asked me when I was in the beauty shop, she was getting married the next day, and I didn't know her. And I happened to say that how I was very happy for her, and I was telling her my story, and she said, well, what is your secret? And I said, I thought about it. I thought, what is the secret of a happy marriage? You know, many people will say communication, and you hear that a lot. But I thought, for us, the secret or any kind of advice I could give is that it's based on love, true love. And that it really is. Love has always held us together and always will. And he's been my rock. This younger man, and by the way, we don't even talk about our age difference. The only time we talk about it is when it's a celebrity. A celebrity is, in the news about being a cougar or something like that. Then we might think about it. But we have the same issues that other people do. But if you're in love, you can work it out. I really believe that. And Brian has always said that he describes our relationship as like a tree. And he says the bottom of the tree is the root. I mean, like the roots come up, and the trunk of the tree is the base of our relationship. It's the strength. And he said that all the leaves, that they go out like a Y. And he said, one side, you have your life, I have my life. He means our interests, our spirit, our energy. And he said, then we come back together and we have Mariah, our daughter, which has been just absolutely wonderful. And I feel the same way. I'm really, really grateful that I have this special relationship. And I also feel this. I view older women and younger men in this way. It's as if you look at your life as though it's a tree, and I look at a tree of life, that there are notches on a tree, just like in the soil.